Trash pickup. Trash, pre-thought, pre-growth, prearranged, fine, re-ingrainable hue of the fossilization or re-under re-inchargeable current of the ionicals, ions. This type of probabilities of touch sense of the day sense of the day studios of counts of prearranged, rearranged, dislocational levered latchments of the liquidizational and food packagingwizational, numberwizational, in count finements. See, I'm gonna start this new yearly calendar utensilization orbital attraction of the infillable shed sky, groundable skin, internal motional restless little program. I'm gonna do it from a week to a month to 6 months, 12 months. I'm gonna have this time on a timely seasonal cycle seasonal scale of in coloredness or of in mealness, of in sunness or wizations of the inboundable, in colorization of in pickupable, in refineness of an itemization's personality or separational recycling wizations of in togetherness. Back to these liquid containers, how are these made anyway? I'm not really quite for sure how they regrowth them and wrap them back up. That's the question in my mind, is how they said it be, do it from surface to factory, factory to surface. This type of storage of builds of items, itemizational listments. It's all about the page site of items in the listicle, time countable keepment of those storage of bill items of ongoing affixments of questioning risation answering risations of materials made and remade ability reusable fixable time clockable on discoveries. You see, it's like onto materials, like how would you clean it before, after, before, or just onto discarding them back to, should I compress them or squeeze them and or shred them at home or at the factory? Should this time waitable time tripables read time equation help factorize time in the supplyable resourceable ways of cutting down on supplies, work time. But to my list, I usually got chips, canned food, art, other dust on the floor, the little food waste, packages, clothes, old items, deteriorations, save batteries, caps, clean up material. I keep all trying to keep all this stuff separate, separate wizations. Like when something expires, I'm saying, I only got one thing that expires maybe in 6 months. So it's hard to keep the stuff together for me right now. So, but back to meals. You see, if we work on a wheel meals for a month and the similarity or areas of similarities, we can all get an incensement of the weatherizational and organizational and fineness of the claudio outspeak mental bodyization of the earth's and fatherness little travelerness little finds. It's more or less, what I'm saying, everybody orders, put the orders in, and you show up at that location, that same similarity location that's, cooking that food wastable pickup times. It's all in the systematical diagrams of specific items of specifics, but I like to squeeze and shredder the stuff, but maybe we could just keep it intact. It all depends on the waitable trip waitable times of, how much a trash bin weighs. I'm trying to keep it as an easy weight. Don't want to fill nothing up or out time the trash routes limits. What is the trash routes limits? time, or an organized trash limit time, the organized factory times of when a supply shows up, when does it get to its final destination, and when is it remolded for stored supply time. It's like organizing from an itemizational home of squeeze noodles, or just organizing from a shredderization in a partness or separation or in attachments of similarities of the time some numbers. Some number find that's that day waterizational medium of the 6 months to 12 months equalizational time. So really it's a figurization of opaction of the yearly calendars, utensilization or orbitalization, attraction of the infillable shed of the sky groundable skin, internal measurization or rootness. But back to the building and destructionalization and cleaning of distractions of the instinct failures and other naturalizational cause preventional causes of inthoughtable problemizations of the natural fautalizations of the natural cause prevention plus the instinct failures usually equals some type of recycle time of the step-footed or actional steps of the lost touch inthoughtable vamping or backgroundable start of the presence or earth's touchable sense of the new happenings of the blind circuit or keepments of the photical re-entopment, soilizational, material aerizational, motorizational, partners of rangeness of toxic wizations of plastic abilities, or is it not? It's a life step in habitual pre-cycle of learnability. We're going to learn about these types of valuables are reclaimed in the buildization of evolution. Evolutionarization building. See, when you steep a plant and other materializations of togetherness, the arrangements in your arrangement to the body is timed glass in a new time suitable space shuttleizational, windmillable functionalizations of operations from the central cityization intelligence of how it's a made togetherness of the wiseable step of solutionalization problems of gathering a preloadable, less steppable and work timeable pain and solvement of life inhabitants of questionalizations of the mid or liquidals list of the most trash mold made similarities and togetherness of the finds from the hot to cold, cold to hot, matable, adjustable packages of the surface-wizationals count fine. But when we do the meal month's best taste test sedimentary-wizational build, this type of separation is a good encounterment, so the business's wizational's most touch of the times touchable pre-shape after uses is in creation of the pre-shapeness stabilities of the after in mental tapeness of the inthoughtable inability of the tinkleness wizational's indicational and visionary realization of get have and got getting have article painted draws or regional widable studies of the all seasonal all world naturalizational fractional fractions of atomizationals specificational atoms or itemizations in terms of imaginational brilliance on the lever latch lever key formatted of keeping instructional keepments of pre-thoughtable growth of arrangements of the fine grainable hue of the time oscillationals under inchargeable currents of the ionicals. That's kind of what trash is, back at hue, grainable, fine, arranged growths of thoughts, growth, arranged, fine, grainable hues. But to the rocky internal motion in the waterizationals, colorizational in movement, in shape mental is a dazzling air vortexable in graph mental or sight, more or less a list, chart, or graph, a scale of measurement or directionals of calendar time, same page visualizations of the midday and midnights, divided over morning, sunrise, and sunsets, togetherness, it'll storage visualizationals, circuitalizationals, in colorizational, in orderlizational, in bodyizational, in touchmental, storage of volatile best containers for the longer or lasting the longest or restless or raining or falling or hue of the storage or organizations of the materializations made step inclusions of what type of space, sign, ground, pivotal point is this on the mind, locational, rolling, or deep surface of fallouts of the last startable actions of the time, joltable, rejoltable, boat splashes of the one rippling times of the systemization, those patterns or sequencealizations of the set bracket or resonance of the acoustical lies of the time, body or clock of the mentalization or seasonal cycles, particle matter retraction of the squeezable graphical cores of home, the factory to surface to business wise